And welcome back to the podcast, all you beautiful people. It's good to have you here. I'm psyched. I'm psyched to talk about the topic that we're going to get into today, which is how to grow your own money tree. You hear people say money doesn't grow on trees. Well, they're wrong. And I'm going to teach you. I'm going to teach you in this episode how to grow a money tree. And that might seem like a crazy, wild, audacious, impossible undertaking. But stick with me. By the end of this episode, you're going to understand exactly how to grow your own money tree. So the first thing that you have to understand, I guess for a little bit of context, is like this is the framework that I've been using for the last 10 years or so in terms of growing my businesses, whether that's real estate or direct to consumer e-commerce brands, a manufacturing brand, like service-based business. I've done it all, and this framework works across all of them. And it came about, this framework came about as a result of a question that I got recently. Now, I did not have this framework flushed out in my brain before this question was asked. But as a result of the question, I sat down and tried to get down, okay, how can I systematize this into a framework that you guys can get some value out of? The question that I was asked had to do with the fact that I think the three most important habits that we all need to cultivate and deploy on a daily basis is what I call learn, think, do. So making time every day to learn something, making time every day to think. So getting quiet time, going for a walk, meditating, journaling, whatever it is, and then making time every day to do the actions. And the doing of the actions is the most important, because that's where the rubber really meets the road. And it's where most people struggle because they don't know what to do, or they know what they do, but they don't know how to do it enough. Or they think they're doing it enough and they're just not getting enough volume in. And so the question that I got was, okay, so around the doing, what should I be doing? And I said, well, you should focus on your key performance indicators or your money-making activities. So I refer to it as my MMA, my money-making activities. And every day I try to spend at least 1 hour on a money-making activity. And so the question was, what's that look like for you as a creator, as a business owner, as a real estate investor? What are money-making activities for you? And so I was thinking about that in the shower. I was like, okay, what is my money-making activities? And as I was unwinding that, I realized it fit into this nice little 3-step framework that I call the money tree. And so let's break down the money tree first. So first is step 1, which is you have to get and plant a money seed. So the money seed is your money-making vehicle, or the potential for a money-making vehicle. In real estate, that's a building. In, say, a direct-to-consumer brand, that's your product. If you're selling socks, right? You either have a building that's going to potentially make you money in the future, or you have socks, which can potentially make you money in the future. And in the beginning, when you're first starting out, all your energy needs to be on planting a money seed. And the way that you get that first money seed is you learn everything that you can about that seed. And then you network with others who have that type of seed. And then you got to take massive action. Okay, so first we learn everything there is to know about your seed, if that's real estate or direct to consumer, if that's digital marketing, whatever. You got to learn the ins and outs of that thing. And then you got to network with other people who are doing it, because that's going to help accelerate and get you out of your own way to hopefully not make mistakes that are stupid and easily avoided. And then you got to take massive action, because without the action, nothing actually gets done. So in real estate, that could mean cold calling sellers, networking with brokers, making offers. Those are the actions that are going to lead to you getting a seed into the ground. Okay, if this is direct to consumer brand, if we're selling socks, then that could be creating your product, getting it sourced from your vendors overseas, and then designing your digital storefront, and then crafting a killer offer, right? This is prepping the soil so that when we plant our asset, it's going to be in fertile soil that is conducive to growth, right? Now, once we have your money seed, you're going to move on to stage 2, which is we got our money seed, we got it into the ground. Now we need to grow our money tree. And this is where you're going to spend the majority of your time. You're just going to be watering a patch of dirt and you're just going to be waiting. And this is like the unsexy work of running a business that like nobody likes to talk about, but it's the most important because $1 million idea is worthless without $1 million execution. Okay. The way to think about this is I can give you the best money seed in the world, but if you put it in the ground and then ignore it and neglect it, if you don't water it, if you don't get it enough sunshine, if you don't make sure that the varmints aren't getting into it, if you don't do all those things, it does not matter how great the seed is. It's going to wither and die or just never grow. Okay, so this is where the work actually gets done. Things like in real estate, this is like leasing the property. This is doing the renovations. This is doing the maintenance and a ton more. Like there's a lot that you could be doing here. And back to our sock company, our direct-to-consumer brand, this is like marketing. This is the operations of fulfillment and shipping. This is the finance and HR. So we're hiring and then we're firing and then we're training and then we're retaining documents and all that stuff. Like it's hard. It's really, this part's difficult because one, every money seed grows a little bit differently. And two, though they all grow differently, they all have the same commonality, which is they're going to go through growing pains. They're going to go through these periods where the systems that you had implemented and that were working at stage 1 no longer work at the stage 2 or stage 3 that you're trying to get to. And so you're going to go through these like euphoric highs and then like soul crushing lows. And it's hard. And this is why a lot of people give up, is because you're just out there watering a patch of dirt for so long that it feels like you're wasting your time and nothing's really happening. But if you stick with it, if you show up every single day on a long enough time frame and do the hard, boring work, then something magical starts to happen, which is you're going to look down and one day you're going to see a thriving money tree. Like it's going to be there. It's going to be bearing fruit. And you're going to be like, holy crap, I finally arrived. This is it. I've done it. And it's going to feel really good. But this is not the time to harvest that fruit and go and retire and sit back and relax. No. See, it's time to scale. Because the only thing that's better than one money tree is 10 money trees. Well, actually, 2 money trees is better, and 3 is better than that, and 4 is. But you know, we're trying to build a garden here. And so it's not really like this linear process like I'm describing it here. It's not this easy of like plant a seed, grow a seed, harvest the seed. Right? But we're going to be trying to take that fruit of the tree, recycle it, take those seeds, instead of consuming them, put them back in the soil and getting more going. And the thing that you have to figure out, and this goes back to the initial question that was asked that spawned this entire framework in the first place, is like, what are your key money-making activities? And the truth is that there are key money-making activities at each one of these stages. What you're doing to make money when you're planting your money seed is very different than what you're doing when you're growing your money tree. And so every day, like, you have to have the discernment and the judgment to be able to decide and accurately prioritize what you should be working on or what your team should be working on at any given moment. And that's a skill that takes time. It takes a little bit of perspective. It can take some coaching, but it is something that you can develop and improve at. And it's critical that you do improving at it, because if you want to grow a thriving money garden, like, this is a skill that has to be mastered. And so if you're listening to this podcast, it's because you're trying to tap in deeper and try and figure this stuff out. A great resource I'd also recommend you guys tap into is the Hyperfocused Entrepreneur Newsletter. And so if you go to anthonyvicino.com/newsletter, you can join the newsletter, and every week I go deeper into concepts just like this. And I don't always cover it on the podcast. So go subscribe to that. I think we have at this point, 15,000 subscribers. It's amazing how many people get that each and every week. So go tap into it. It's a great resource, anthonyvicino.com/newsletter. Also, when you sign up, you do get, right now, I think we're giving away the 3-step millionaire productivity system, which is just a nice little 6-page pamphlet with my 3-step productivity system that served me really well. So go get that. Go join the newsletter. I think it can serve you if you're in this phase where you're trying to figure out, what are my money making activities? How do I develop discernment? How do I develop judgment? And then how do I apply it on a consistent basis? So that is how you make or create or grow your own money tree. I know it's simple. Doesn't mean it's easy. It might be pretty basic, but honestly, the goal isn't to do complex things. It's just to do simple things better, right? And if you do that on a long enough time frame, you're going to win this game of business, of investing, in the game of life. I do believe that. So, as always, I appreciate you guys being here. It means a lot to me. It really does. Like, I get so much positive feedback from you all. It's kind of overwhelming at times. And I want to be able to reach out and say thank you to each and every one of you. So, if you enjoyed this, do me a favor, share it on social media or wherever you're listening to this, or wherever you consume media, and tag me in it so that I can say thank you. I would love to have a conversation with you and just get to know you guys. So I appreciate you being here. As always, you're the best. You're number one in my heart. I'll see you guys tomorrow.